Experience Darden podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and you are listening to a new episode. On this episode of the podcast, I'd like to share my recent conversation with Ashley Gartland. Ashley is a first-year student in our full-time MBA class of 2027, and she is also a section representative for Section A. I recently connected with Ashley to talk more about her background, her decision to pursue an MBA, what led her to Darden, how she decided to be a section representative, and so much more. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. And as always, if this conversation is helpful for you, please like this episode and subscribe to the Experience Darden podcast so you never miss an update. And remember, you can always check the episode description for links to Darden blogs, social channels, and more. Now, without further ado, here's my conversation with Ashley Gartland. Ashley, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Brett, how are you?
All right, doing well. Thank you for being here. How's everything going? How are you doing?
Good, I'm doing well. Just coming off fall break, so I'm feeling energized and excited for the next quarter ahead.
All right. All right. Well, yes, nice to probably have a little bit of downtime. I know the first year is really busy for students. Did you do anything fun on fall break, or was it just mostly just relaxing?
Yeah, I actually went to Ireland for a couple of days, got to explore the city, check out some sites, and it was really relaxing and enjoying.
Wow. Did you go to Dublin?
Yes, I flew into Dublin, stayed there for 5 days, and then took a ton of day trips around the island.
It's not a big place, as I
Yeah,
understand. You can do that. You can circumnavigate the whole place and not too much time. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Well, thanks for taking some time out for the podcast. I think you're probably the only person we've ever interviewed who's fresh off a trip to Ireland, but maybe, I could be wrong. I have to look in the record books for that sort of thing. But tell us a little bit more about who you are and your background.
Yeah. So my name's Ashley Gartland. I am our Section A rep. Go Lions. I'm originally from Connecticut. Spent the last 5 years in Atlanta, Georgia, prior to coming to Darden. Um, Before all this, I studied mechanical engineering at Clemson University. After graduation, I kind of worked as a technology consultant in Atlanta, Georgia, but then quickly transitioned into kind of more of a strategy consulting role at a different firm. I am primarily interested in industrials and aerospace and defense. So that's kind of the environment that I've been working in. And then now here at Darden.
Was an MBA something you've been thinking about for a long time?
Yeah. With my background being in mechanical engineering, I had the problem solving skills, but I didn't necessarily have a lot of that business acumen that I wanted. I felt like, especially being in technology consulting and strategy consulting, I was lacking compared to my colleagues. So this was always something that I knew I wanted to pursue further in my career once I've gotten to see how my industries operate and projects, and then kind of learn in the classroom setting and then bring those skills back into a consulting setting. Also, I see myself in a leadership role long term, and a lot of the people, especially in the consulting industry, had MBAs in those leadership roles. So, kind of one of those goals that I'm always been striving for and always wanted to obtain.
How'd you get interested in Darden specifically?
Yeah. So I actually, the way that I looked into schools was I kind of made my list and I said, where do I think that I would fit in? For me, fit was always my biggest driver of the place that I saw myself. So I visited campus in around this time last year, I guess, before applying. But when I stepped onto campus, I kind of immediately felt at home. In that 8 a.m. classroom, there was music playing, and all the students were maybe even coming back from the break and, conversing with each other, really just looked like they enjoyed their experience. And there was that strong sense of community. So that's, like I said, what I was striving for and what I wanted to be a part of. Um, and I could see myself in that Darden community as well. Kind of Charlottesville was a really fun city when I visited in that longer extended weekend. There was anything from a rodeo to the wineries that I was able to partake in. And the fact that all the students are kind of in this environment. Fortunately, a lot of students stay for the weekends, so we really bond as a group. I see that now. At the time of applying, that's where I saw my future as.
Do you remember the class you sat in on? Sometimes people do.
It was an accounting class, which I really enjoyed sitting in on an accounting class because I know with the case method, everyone says, how do you learn accounting in the case method? And I had the same exact, worry or thoughts. And the class was just extremely engaging. Everyone had their hand raised. I don't remember the exact concept or the company that we were looking at in the case, but I do remember it was accounting and it was with Shane. So
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people mention sitting in on an accounting class as being
yeah.
really impactful in their decision-making process of like, oh, well, you can do this. And it
Yes.
totally makes sense. It's way more interesting also but than I thought it would be.
Yes.
And I think that is one of those like real light bulb moments for people when they sit on accounting or finance some of these classes. They assume might be really challenging in the case method, and find that it's really an interesting conversation. So you're here now, Ashley, and
Yep.
you're going through the first year. What's the adjustment been like to being a graduate business student?
Yeah, it has been interesting. I mean, you come off of um being employed and, kind of having your lifestyle that you is pretty regular on a day-to-day basis. You go into work, you have these projects that you're working on, and then coming into business school, you know, every day is different. I feel like even though you have the same kind of classes Monday and Tuesdays and then Wednesdays and Thursdays, like what I'm doing after class is different, whether that's coffee chats, whether I'm participating in a club event, or just walking the hallways and speaking with different students. It has made time feel like years, and it's only been 2 months. So I have felt really excited to be here, but it's definitely been a big change, but one of the best changes ever.
Was the case method a change for you?
Yeah, I think the case method has been really interesting. Like I said, I was hesitant with accounting and then I sat in on that class. And I think I still learn new ways to participate in the case method every day. It really is a discussion. We have a class of 72 people, give or take, that are really going back and forth on the different topics. I love when in the classroom we'll have, let's say, a marketing person who worked at Abercrombie, and she'll pull in specific examples of her experience within that industry. And then you'll have someone else who worked at OnCloud or whatever their experiences are. And that's really what makes the case method truly impactful, is that leaning in on people's experiences that are also mirroring the experiences that we're seeing within the case. Um, you know, I do remember every case we work on, whether it's not necessarily the company, but how that case is applicable to the real world. And it's not just concepts that we're learning, on a whiteboard, and then we have to remember to take a test later. So it's that real world application that we're having for both the students as well as the cases that we're reading. But it definitely was a lot of reading, and but it's very I learn a lot, so
Feels like the reading piece you get better at as you go through the program. Has that been your experience?
yes, you definitely learn how to skim, highlight efficiently, but read, what's important in the case and what you really need versus the additional information, so I agree.
Yeah, it's interesting. I worked with law students for a while on academic success, and that they read cases too. And when people first start out reading cases in law school, it takes forever. And then you go to class, people always have this experience of like all the things you thought were important were not that important at all, and the
Yep.
conversation goes in a completely different direction. But you take that feedback, you think about the next case, you read and kind of get a little bit better every time, and then at some point you can very quickly look at this, get the information you need, have a perspective, be able to participate in discussion. But you got to have that feedback loop, right? You got to be processing what happens in class.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned you're a section representative
Yep.
for Section A.
Yeah.
Um, how'd you decide you wanted to be a section representative?
Yeah. So coming to Darden, I knew one of the skills I wanted to build was those leadership skills, and really step into those roles. I do see myself as wanting to be a manager and, an executive leader at a company. So what better way to learn how to do that by stepping into one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences at Darden is being a section rep. This is also a great opportunity to make an impact in that community. The section reps have high visibility, but you can really make of it what you want. So, like, I have free reign to organize events, bring excitement to the classroom, really create that atmosphere for both myself as well as the people in my section, and even across our sections. All of the section reps get together and create that atmosphere. So I felt that that was a really great way to be a leader, but also own my Darden experience and really be in the driver's seat, for myself and the students to make it memorable and exciting.
What's a Section A norm that you've put in place, or that you and your classmates have put in place? Probably a better way to describe it. That you really enjoy, that
Yeah,
you
I
want to
think
share here.
Yeah, one of the norms we just have is being supportive of each other. I mean, everyone's going to come in with different experiences, different perspectives, and that's what makes the case method, the Darden experience, as well as an MBA so impactful. So being supportive, we clap for each other in class, we check in on each other, especially during recruiting season, and we're just a really great community within Section A, I feel like. So, being supportive, whether that's, really looking at the person while they're talking. We do a lot of head nodding in Section A. So, um, that supportive atmosphere, is part of our section norms.
I know your first year, you've got a lot on your plate. Are there any clubs and organizations you've been involved with? How's that going?
Yeah. So I actually joined almost every club I could, willing of, club dues and whatnot. But I really wanted to get out there and meet as many people as I could, and learn from their experiences. A lot of our clubs, even, clubs you can join as allies. It's been a great way to meet the second years as well. I have gotten out there, gone to a lot of those events. Right now, where there's a lot of dinners or small groups. So, like I said, great way to meet people. I'm more actively involved in the golf club. They are having weekly lessons on Fridays, so that has been a great opportunity for me to get out there, get be active, but while also meeting people, and a nice study break on Fridays. And then as well, doing that outdoors club. We have our ski trip coming up in December, so I'm really looking forward to that.
So you're staying active,
Yeah,
golf, skiing.
trying to stay active.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Well, golf's pretty easy at Darden. You have Birdwood right across the street, basically.
Yes, it's a really nice course. I was fortunate in my undergrad to have a course nearby, and, I was happy when Darden told me that there was a course nearby as well here, so
And a pretty good student rate too, if anybody's listening and they're a golfer. If you're a person just in the public, UVA staff member, it's all right. But if you're a student, really good rate out there. So, and a very nice course, recently
yeah.
redesigned. So, we don't have a chance to talk about Birdwood that often here on the podcast. So, I appreciate you bringing it up, Ashley. So, what are you looking forward to in the months ahead?
Yeah. So right now, Section A is leading in Darden Cup. So I can't wait to keep cheering on the Lions to more victories. This weekend we have racket sports coming up, and we've had a ton of practices. I think we even might have a semi-pro tennis player. So super excited about that. I'm also just looking forward to all of our DSA events they have scheduled for Q2. We've got the Halloween party, 100 case, as well as a formal. So again, just a great way to meet more students, come together as a community, and kind of step away from the busy time of recruitment and case reading, and spend time together.
Yeah, it's a busy time. I always hear from students that, there's probably 3 things you're trying to do generally. There's school, there's career, there's social, but you can't do all of those all the time. Has that
Yeah.
been your experience?
Yeah, I think it's always the 3 leg, but there's always then 2 legs that you have to stand on. You try to juggle all of them. Um, I think the one that always falls for me is sleep and all that then. But trying to stay active, like I said, meeting people is always one of my favorite things to do. So, then I just lose on sleep, but that's okay?
That's all right. You only get to do your MBA once. You want to try to make the
Yes.
most of it. Well, I wonder, Ashley, it wasn't so long ago that you were you're on the other side, looking at MBA programs, doing your research, thinking about coming to Darden.
Yeah.
Any advice for our prospective student listeners as they think about their own MBA journeys?
Yeah, for sure. If I think my biggest advice is if you can, make an effort to visit campus or just reach out to current students or alumni, or if there's any events that you have within your community that you can attend that are Darden specific, so that you can really learn about people's experiences. Like I said, it was so important for me to see the campus and picture myself. Um, in grounds, and you can really feel yourself part of the school, feel yourself in that community. Darden is a really extremely special place, but it's really the students that make it that special place. So getting to meet those people ahead of time, helps you really see yourself here, and really make your school experience come alive.
Yeah, students play a huge role in shaping the experience at Darden. Talked about section representatives, one of the roles students can have as a first year student, and you kind of continue that into your second year. You still stay connected to your section, at least maybe not in terms of the classes you're taking, but I guess once a section member, always a section member. And then clubs and organizations. There's over 50 of them. You not only can be a member, you can also be a leader there. And UVA has this real tradition of student self-governance. So students really kind of running the extracurricular life of the school. It isn't always the case that that's how it plays out at other places. So I think you're right. Come spend some time on grounds. We have these uh, larger events called Day with Darden that take place in the fall. Then we also have class visits. You can come and sit in on a class. And I think, oftentimes for folks, they've got questions about what Charlottesville is like and what's the case method like, and they want to meet current students. You can do all of those things in a relatively short period of time just by coming for a visit. If you can make it work financially in terms of the time, it's well worth your time.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for taking some time for the podcast. It was great catching up with you.
Thanks so much, Brett.
And that was my conversation with Ashley Gartland, a first-year student in our full-time MBA class of 2027. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything you'd like for us to cover here on the podcast, we're all ears. We can be reached at Darden, that's Darden, @virginia.edu. Till next time, stay safe, be well, and thanks for listening.